what we find so often is everybody processes information, but in terms of application right across the board. And how do we take now, I guess the whole process today is, how as leadership do we now have our staff impacted, but how do we further the idea, right? So I'm looking today to try to figure out what, there's 3 steps I'm looking at. One is the visual impact, the second is the emotional, and the third are the measurables. Please.
I think one of the most impactful things that you said today was about taking away that I and making it the we. You know, I think a lot of the times, like, we get lost in the classroom and it's like all about me, but there's other individuals in there as well.
Yes, that's very, yes, I agree. Next, please.
I think for me, the video clip was a reminder of what a game changer teachers can be. I think so often they resort to, we need administrator, we need principal, we need, and them knowing how much more powerful they are
Yes.
than any of us coming in a situation
Yes.
to respond. So for me, it's just how do I empower them to feel they can apply what they know in real situations. Because we hear about it, we feel pumped up, but it's almost like they freeze when these situations really happen.
Yeah, next.
Hi, you had mentioned about controlling our emotions, and I think that first phrase you started with, like the robot inside of you, I think we fall back on our emotions and become robotic to our emotions. So I think once we understand and realize our landmines, then we can change and control it.
If I'm at the right place with my classroom, they engage my eyes, regardless if I give them to them accidentally, because the eyes aren't held, your eye contact is not held by your eyes. Your eye contact is held by your heart. So therefore, if you have the heart of the student, you'll have the eyes of the student.
I think what really stood out to me was, and it was in reference to the mumbling under the breath or some that one teacher shared, but the way that you didn't get it this time, but next time you're not gonna, you know, and how you said that it might take a very long time to get there, and that's okay. I think as educators, we often want to see immediate results in the students that we serve. So that acceptance that you're just not there yet, and letting the student know that was powerful for me.
I think that in the people business, we are so motivated by instant gratification, or we're so damaged by the person that is how she interpreted, right, that it was personal, that he was personalizing it. Even, and that's why when I do a session on, we didn't get to it the last time, how to identify, address, modify, and redirect challenging student behavior, right? So what's the first thing in identification? If a child has his head on the desk, and you say, Johnny, put your head up, and he never looks up, versus the child who's got his head on his desk and he looks up and growls at you or scowls at you, right? Okay, so you have to separate what is personal versus something that a challenge a student is going through because they didn't sleep the night before, right? The one who gave his head on the desk is obviously not directing it toward you, right? Because he's not even looking up. The one who looks up and snarls or growls or looks at you threateningly is targeting that toward you. He's trying to condition you so that you don't ask again. Each one of those have to be dealt with differently, right? We have to really engage our environments in a real human way. I was just in Vegas, I want to say last month or the month before, and a girl had got in trouble because she was arguing with somebody because she had these extraordinary pink things woven into her hair, black girl. I mean, they were pink, it was amazing. And I said to the principal, Jennifer, I said, well, what's the problem? Well, she's arguing, we're gonna send her home. Even Jennifer didn't get it, right? I said, well, what's wrong with her? Well, she's arguing because people were making fun of her pink hair. I said, okay, well, here's what you may want to understand. Her mom probably is wearing the same hairdo. So at home and in her environment, the pink hair woven in is the bomb. She came to school thinking her hair was going to be the bomb, but instead she got ridiculed. So somebody needs to understand the process is going on with her, help her to understand there's nothing wrong with your hair, obviously, and ask her enough critical questions, and then ascertain how she's feeling about it. And take her through a process where she's not re-traumatized. See, sometimes we re-traumatize people and we don't even understand it. She's being traumatized in her classroom, sent to the office. She's being traumatized again, now she's gonna be sent home. She's gonna be traumatized again at home, because she's gonna get in trouble because now you've been sent home. And so it's a cycle. So we have to understand the cycle and to be very empathetic, to ask the critical probing questions, and not to feel as if it's directed toward me personally.
One is the whole thing around landmines, that picture that you had up, and all those landmines, right?
Yeah.
And then connecting that to the story that you gave about your brother and your dad's encounter, that we don't know that what we say may be innocent, but stepping on a landmine of a kid that's dealing with a trauma. So that was really powerful for me. The other thing is that in real time, the engagement that you have with 500 people in the room gave evidence of emotional quotient. Because in the midst of your being very transparent, look, I sweat and you're padding and you're still going and the energy is going, a teacher reaches into her bag and hands you water.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful thing. And then Tina, who is standing in front of 500 people, allows herself to be transparent. That takes a lot of emotional intelligence. And then for someone else to pick up a tissue and a handle. I would love to see our teachers take a tissue or water and handle it, instead of being that landmine that triggers things. So that was really powerful.
You know, you said a lot of things in that, one of which is the necessary level of transparency. Most of us we all come with a mask, right? We all have our mask on. That's why every now and then when people actually see us, we get a little nervous. You can tell it. When you know behavior, like I know all the behavior that's around this table. I know all the behavior that's around this table. It's my gift. It's what I do. If I had to go individually and tell you about all your behavior, it's instantaneous. From the most focused, from the most genuine, from the most person who's approachable, from the person who's least approachable, from the person who is kind of partially to who's going through the motions, to who's actually doing something, who's prepared. It's that instant because I've done it so long. I used to do classrooms and I would stop and tell a person exactly where they are, and they'll be like, wow. Because you can't hide your behavior. It's who you are. It's inherent. Matter of fact, you've practiced it so much that you don't even know you do it. You've practiced you so much that you don't even know you do it. And what's interesting is that the children, at what age did the children learn how to push adult buttons?
Mine could do it before they could talk.
Newborn.
Huh?
Newborn.
Newborn?
Yeah.
You already have one?
Yeah, that's all right.
No, wait. You're way too late. In the womb. Right, that's why they're kicking. That's why they're experiencing mom and dad having an argument. Matter of fact, they're experiencing mom and dad having an argument in a more intrinsic way than mom and dad who are having an argument. They are connected to mama. That means that when they come out of the womb, the baby is at like ground level, right? And so all the things you think you're hiding, they're just watching. They have no resistance to you. So therefore that child is watching you and seeing everything that you do, not based on the words you're using. That's why if you have anybody have more than one child? Oh wow, you're in trouble. No. The more children you have, the greater the possibility of producing a child that has all of your negative traits.
No.
Wait a minute, what's this?
I'm just having one.
What's this? Because one child is looking at you from all your positive traits. The other child is looking at you and all your negative traits. So when you're arguing with a child, who are you really arguing with? Yourself, and the child will always win. They're prepared to go places you stop going.